Hey everyone, hey Des Moines Metro and surrounding areas. This is Junior Ibarra with Team IRG with Keller Williams, and we're going to be talking about the Des Moines Metro language of real estate. What's happening in our local market, right? So today we also have the following,
Anthony Simon. I'm a real estate agent here on the team with Team IRG.
and we also
Hey,
have
Ryan Cahoy, I'm Director of Operations for Team IRG.
Heck yeah. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to be doing these videos once a month to just share information. Our goal as real estate advisors here for the local area is to provide information and empower you with information so that you can ultimately make informative decisions as a real estate consumer, whether you're looking to buy, sell, invest, or build a home here. We want to educate our community. So we're going to show you actual numbers for Des Moines Metro, meaning like we're covering the core metro area. We're not really going into rural communities. We're covering the metro, the suburbs like Urbandale, Grimes, West Des Moines, Altoona.
You said like a 15-mile radius, right?
Yeah, 15
Kind
miles.
of what
Yeah,
you
it's kind
said.
of a 15-mile radius, again, encapsulating what I would consider the majority of the metro area.
Yeah, sweet. So Anthony, what do we have for our first slide and information?
So first, we're going to look at median sale price and how that's been kind of trending year over year and so far this year. So obviously, we only have numbers currently through October, but as you can see, as to no surprise to anyone, pricing definitely went up again this year. Um, Last year, it was an 11% increase year over year for median sale price, and that gap has only gotten bigger so far this year. We are starting to see it level out, maybe come down ever so slightly. But if unless there's a huge fall off, which I don't think is going to happen, we're likely going to surpass that 11% from last year again. Um, but yeah, it looks like things are finally starting to level out, and we'll see what kind of the next 2 months bring.
Yeah, 11% double digits is what you kind of saw over the last couple years, and things are essentially coming back to normal. I mean, double digit increase in sale price is not sustainable for any market, right? And so that's good that that's happening actually. And so you can kind of see there in October the light blue and the yellow kind of getting a little bit closer to each other, and that's good. I think when I looked at month over month from October to last October, and we can get into more of those fine-tuned details if you want, like in an in-person consultation. But it was closer to that 4 to 5% versus like a double-digit one, right? So that's good because that's more normal, that 4 to 6% appreciation year over year. So I agree. You see those big gaps, and you're like, holy smokes. Well, luckily, we're going back to normal, and that's kind of the buzzword I want to say as far as the market we're going into normalcy, normal.
Right. And like historically, though, even over the past 30 years, even if you include like the crash, I guess you'd say the real estate crash in 2009, historically, it has been a 6 to 7% increase year over the past 30 years, correct? I mean, and now obviously that we can't sustain the 11 or 16% that's happening right now. So
Yeah, absolutely. Like, real estate as a whole, like they say, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. Because naturally, over long term, as long as you plan on living in that home for more than 4 to 5 years, it tends to appreciate. Even in the decade, from 2000 to 2010, even though that crash was there, the different pricing in 2000 to 2010 was still up. And again, from 2010 to 2020, up. And then from 2020 to 2030, well, it'll be up over the long haul, right? So, but yeah, everything at the end of the day is hyper local, and this is what's happening in the Des Moines market.
Yeah, so next, let's look at some days on market and kind of how that's been trending. So you look at 2022, 2021; those are the lines right there at the bottom. Um, Historically, it was not abnormal to sit on the market for 1, 2, 3 months, kind of coming into winter. That's not something we've seen since it looks like February of 2020. We've been under 3 weeks for the last almost 3 years, which is abnormal. And we are just now slowly starting to creep back up. I think for October we were at 12 days on market. Still very, very quick, but compared to what we've been seeing the last 2 years, it feels like an eternity. And I know it can feel like an eternity for a seller going, my house didn't sell in 2 days. What's going on? We're slowly creeping back up, which is a wonderful thing to help stabilize the market.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Ryan and I were talking about, when we were selling houses in 2016, 2017, and 2018, like you see on here, where days on market were, above 80 days, or in 2019 around 40, we would always do, it was normal just to be like, hey, this house is going to sell in about, ultimately close in about 3 months, right? 3 to 4 months. And that was just the standard. And so these last couple of years, obviously like have been totally abnormal, right? So those are things that eventually will, go back to pre-pandemic levels where, things don't sell in 24 hours, right? We're already kind of seeing that they don't sell in one day. They don't sell 10 to 15% over asking with no contingencies, or straight cash. And whatnot, there's actually a room to negotiate, right? And actually be able to negotiate that price or negotiate inspection items. So this is good. This is good for the market that this is happening.
Yeah, it's it's good for buyers. It's good for agents. The only person that, I mean, the only people that are gonna be slightly unhappy are the people who want to sell their house in one day. But luckily for them, they're not having to, go compete against 15 other people, 15 other offers, and have to drop everything and go look at the house that night. Because that's what was happening through most of this spring and early summer. So it is good for everyone that things are slowing down. We have time to make decisions. We have room to negotiate. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like to say, like, you can never, not never, but you can, it's very hard to underprice a listing, but you can totally overprice a listing. So, especially in today's world where everything starts, on a phone, like people have access to data. So, if what ends up happening, you don't stop the scroll. That's my analogy, right? You want to ultimately stop the scroll. And the way you stop the scroll in real estate, because everybody's looking on whether it's Zillow, Realtor.com, our website, or Google or whatnot, they're looking at pricing, they're looking at pictures. And if you overprice your house, they're just going really fast, right? Have you ever caught yourself on Facebook just going at rapid speeds of light until something catches your attention, and then you actually stop and then look at a couple more pictures? Well, that's what happens with real estate too. If you overprice, they're going too expensive, too expensive, too expensive. And then once they actually see, oh, good price, they look at more pictures, right? So if you want to sell in a day, it's still possible. You just have to really price it really strategically, really aggressively, and then you're going to get a lot of people to stop the scroll. They're like, why is this price this much? I want to go see it now. And then the natural market will take over, and then they'll offer more or whatnot. And it is possible to strategically price it to sell quicker if you wanted to. And that's why it's so important to talk with real estate professionals that do this every single day of every single hour. Like our team that's helping 20 to 30 families per month make those give people information so they can make informed decisions and decide where to price things at strategically, right?
And like conversely, like you're saying, pricing it right is very important. So if you see like some clients, they see stuff that's been on the market for 60 days, the first thing they're like, why? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this thing been on the market when everything else is selling in 12 days? So that we don't want to be that listing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's that Target analogy I like to use every now and again. Like, if something doesn't sell at Target, right? Where does it go? It goes to the discount rack, right?
Right, right.
And then if it doesn't sell, so it goes at 10% off. And if it doesn't sell then, it goes at 25% off, 40%. So you see the red tag sale that's 60 to 50% off because time on the market is your worst enemy. So you have to strategically price things in order to sell within the, and be able to take this kind of information to price things strategically. So yeah,
We're here to help make those decisions and help inform you with that information.
absolutely.
All right, let's look at houses sold. So this is number of units that have been selling month over month, year by year. As you can see, earlier this year, I mean, we were things were moving quickly, but there wasn't more houses selling. It was about the same number of houses that we normally see, January through June. And then when June was when we had that almost 1% interest rate hike, we saw a pretty, for the time, a decent little drop off on just number of houses being sold. But we're still kind of trending at the same pace. Just maybe ever so slightly slower. So things are slowing down a little bit for just how many units are actually being sold. Um, but yeah, I mean, year over year, we're still kind of right on track.
Yeah.
So really, if you look at the, sorry to interrupt you, but
No, go, go.
so if you're to add the November, if we predicted November and December of 2022 here, it almost looks like if we were to maintain maybe 1,000 more units for this end of this year, we'll probably be around the 2019 marker. Potentially, would you say, Anthony, kind of in that area,
Yeah, so
pre-pandemic type area?
Yeah, so we're at 8,000 right now through October. Pre-pandemic, we sat usually right around that, just over 9,000 in those 2018, 2019. We're kind of also trending up. The market in Des Moines has just been trending upward year over year over year. 2020, 2021 were the kind of the exception where it trended way faster. But we're kind of back to that pre-pandemic level. And like you said, we only have to sell, there only needs to be about another 1,000 units over 2 months, which would be two really slow months for Des Moines. But again, that would put us right on track for that for those normal year totals.
Yeah, again, buzzword here being normalcy, right? Like 2020, 2021, man, obviously for those of us that remember or just, man, those years, different types of years, right? The global pandemic, obviously the economy needed to do something. So, injection of monetary funds into the economy, interest rates, like absolute historic lows, like nothing that we've ever seen in the U.S. economy, and that's only happens because we've never also, in many decades experienced a global pandemic, right? So now that things are getting back to normal, like we're going back to normal, which the interest rates in general for the U.S. economy, I can't remember off the top of my head, but in that 7 to 8% range has always been normal over the last 50 years, right? Over the last 5 decades. And we're still below that actually, as far as interest rates are, as far as today's date goes. And so again, going back to this slide here, number of houses sold, it looks like we're going back to those pre-pandemic levels, right? Which is good for the overall stability of our Des Moines metro area.
Yeah, and there might be slightly less. And right now, again, the big drop was kind of over the summer when we had that big rate hike. But as far as like how fast we're slowing down through the end of the year, it's about the same pace as what we'd normally see this time of year. So we're seeing the same slowdown just due to winter, due to, school started. Now we're coming into winter. There's the holiday season. More people just don't want to move. They'd rather move through the kind of that summertime.
Yeah, I already
Um,
put my Christmas tree up. I don't want to move.
It's too early. It's too early, guy.
No, but there are, again, also like there are the buyers that are wanting to close before the holidays, right? And those are serious buyers right now because either their lease is up or something happened in life where they're something, whether it's a death or a divorce or a new baby, something life has happened that is the buyers that are out there, they're ready to close, right? Yet we see this natural trend here in Des Moines, when like literally, yesterday and today snow hits the ground, right? So everyone's like, I'm gonna cozy up, and so things just naturally slow down a little bit.
yeah, and so let's look at, so this is number of houses sold. We're gonna look at new listings hitting the market. So again, we're really right on track for a number of new houses being listed in Des Moines. It slowed down again ever so slightly, but not a ton. Kind of after that kind of June timeframe, and it's just that gentle slowdown from what was craziness the last 2 years. So we're again getting back to normal. Everything is still trending like it should. Things aren't, the sky isn't falling here in Des Moines. We're seeing everything normalize.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you can tell, like by this graph really easily visually, come January, and then things start to pick right back up. And that's normal, right? You look at all those different colors there that explain over the last years, right? So again, this is good. And we should see that same thing happening here in 2023. A lot of opportunity here for those that want to list and buy. And many programs out there too, just to mention out there for first-time home buyers too, that the state of Iowa is offering for those that want to utilize potentially 100% down financing or even down payment assistance programs. We have access to a lot of those, and our lender partners have access to a lot of those. So again, come January, looks like we'll go back to that normal trend there.
And there's a new conventional, some slightly new conventional rules for first-time home buyers too, that are going to make it easier for first-time home buyers that qualify for a conventional loan within certain parameters, but that also are going to incentivize or just help first-time buyers versus somebody who's already in a house.
Yeah.
So reach out to us. We can tell you about those too. But let's look at active listings, because this is
Wow.
kind of where things are abnormal. It's number of units available, number of units that are actually being active on the market right now. At the start of the year, we were already lower than normal. Last year, we were lower than normal by a decent amount, and this year we're way off. And as you saw, like, houses sold wasn't drastically more, new listings weren't drastically less, but there's just enough of an offset that this pulled this way out of whack. And honestly, this is what's helping stabilize pricing right now, is the fact that things are slowing down a little bit, but there's still less available. So it's keeping things semi-competitive or competitive enough to really stabilize the pricing here in Des Moines, versus seeing everything kind of fall off a cliff like we're seeing in some of the coastal cities. We didn't see the huge price spikes, and now we're not seeing the huge fall off. We obviously did see a decent amount of increase, and we're starting to see a little bit of a pullback, and this is kind of what's keeping everything steady here.
Yeah. At
What
the
would you
end of
guys
the
say? What would you guys say? What happened in that March, that peak there, and then it just dropped in April? What do you think
I
what
mean,
was the result?
I can speak to, and we can, speak to essentially some of the stories we were getting from our sellers, right? And it's just being feet on the ground, helping as many people as, a month that we do as a team. So we get a little bit, more experience and, like I said, feet on the ground, right? So one of those was just like sellers during that craziness that ensued this spring summer market was like, do I sell because can I actually find another home? Right? Will I actually be able to find another home if I put my house on them? I know that I'll get like 20 offers, and I know I'll get 10 or 15% above asking. Yet will I actually find the next home that I want to live in? Right? Like we were getting a lot of that. And so now that's kind of changing for those sellers that do want to go move up, right? Because they need a bigger home, or they want that acreage, or whatever that scenario might be. They've outgrown their home. There is that opportunity now where things aren't as crazy, where it's still a good market to sell a house, and now you have time to still go out and find the next home, right? And actually negotiate deals. So versus, that was the other thing. Am I going to have to pay 20% above asking, all cash, no contingencies on that next home that I'm buying? Was, some of the stories that we were getting from some of our sellers. And luckily looks like that's not going to be the case going into next year, as far as, maybe that's starting to trend up a little bit. So that's my take on some of the stories that we were getting from some of our sellers.
Yeah, I heard so many stories of people just being stressed out. They're like, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep, getting people's hopes up. And it's just kind of devastating. When you want to put an offer on a house, you want to get the house. And that just wasn't happening for some people. So I can definitely see why that would be true.
Yeah. Now you can actually get the house or you have
Yeah.
more time to think, like
Yeah. The
yeah,
thinking
wait,
time.
versus like the house was hitting the market, and it was hard for us agents, right, Anthony? Like you had to drop everything and go show that house because you knew there was going to be 20 offers on it. And
And then
that's
Yeah.
go
not
and then
good
write
for
the offer in
anyone's
my
mental
car.
health, the buyer or the agent, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was, yeah, it was literally, hey, this hit the market at 10 a.m. today. Okay, well, when can you get off work so we can go look at it? And then I go park at a gas station and write the offer in my car, and already by 8 p.m., there's already 15 offers. And it's just, it was nuts. So I'm thankful, and I know buyers are going to be thankful that things are, again, normalizing and not that level of crazy. Um, the only issue right now is there's just not as much for sale. There's not as many options. There are still good options and there's still wonderful houses out there. There's just not as many as what normally you have to look at, which can be great for, if you're selling your house and making that move up, because now you're not competing against as many houses. But again, everything comes back down to just walking that fine line of not overpricing your house, getting people in there, getting people motivated. And that's where having a real estate professional to advise you on how to make these moves can just help your situation significantly versus, going, well, Joe down the street sold his house in June for, however many dollars. I'm gonna list right there too. Well, it's not quite the same as what it was in June anymore.
Yeah.
It has changed.
Yeah, everything changes week by week, right? Month by month, and so you have to be in tune with what are the numbers telling you, and this is why we're doing these kinds of videos, and why you want to sit down with a real estate professional, to that does this literally every single day to help you through that transaction and guide you through that. So, again, this is also an opportunity. This is we're seeing builders, get ready for the upcoming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years as an opportunity to add more inventory to our market. We're even getting people calling us from different states that want to come into Des Moines because they see the opportunity that is available to our Des Moines market. At the end of the day, everything is hyper local, right? So when you hear all that like doom and gloom, like that may be happening in other cities, right? Where they're dropping 20, 25% in pricing. Yet we're all blessed that Des Moines doesn't have those crazy cyclical markets like some of those coastal cities and whatnot. So everything at the end of the day is hyper local, which is why we wanted to start to do these videos to show you visually again and empower you with information to make informative decisions. So Anthony, what else do we got?
So that's really it. But again, talking about the hyper local, this is the entire metro. There are hyper local, even more finely, suburb by suburb or neighborhood by neighborhood, where things are all slightly different. And that's where reach out to us. I can talk these numbers. I know Ryan and Junior can talk these numbers all day. And we'd love to just talk to you about this and kind of nerd out about all the statistics that are
We are
the,
nerds,
yeah
Anthony. We are nerds.
the Des Moines stats. So yeah, I mean, this is metro wide. If you want more specific, we can. I would love to dive more specific. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're looking to bring these videos to you um, once a month to kind of recap kind of how things are shifting as the market moves, because things in Des Moines tend to be cyclical too, as far as just seasonally. Um, and that's normal, and just knowing how that is going to affect your decisions 1 month, 2 months, 6 months from now. We're here to help advise and provide that information for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like Anthony said, even the neighborhood, right? Because like when we actually go and see a property, we're looking within the like 1 mile radius, max two sometimes. And so because that could change. You list a house in Beaverdale right now, that's different than listing a house in Urbandale or south side of Des Moines or West Des Moines or Waukee, et cetera, right? So it's super important to know what's going on with your market and contacting a real estate professional like Anthony, myself, or Ryan. And so there's our number. Feel free. We're going to be posting these on YouTube and on Facebook. Hit that little bell at the top, that notification bell on YouTube to make sure that you get notified every time we do post a new video. And if you want to be added to our list, like go ahead and message us. We can have our real estate team. We have a whole team that helps us with a lot of this stuff. And we are actually going to be coming out with a weekly report that kind of shows local market stats from a week by week perspective. That's like in the works right now, so that if you get added to that list, that you get that email blasted to you in that content. Or again, it'll be blasted all over social media. So follow us on Facebook, or follow us on YouTube. We do a lot of content on Instagram and TikTok as well. So look us up. We're there to help. We want to be there as a resource for you at the end of the day for everyone that lives in our community. So again, thank you for watching this video, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.